Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Openfront.io. This is Enzo and today we're going to be doing a tutorial for Openfront. It has been a while since I've done my last tutorial, and in this video I'm going to cover all the different mechanics you need to know in the game and give you some thoughts about how you need to play to have success if you're just starting out. So at the start of the game, you can see that we're in the opening, and the first thing that you're going to want to do is controlled expansion. So how I like to expand is, if you look in the bottom left, this is the attack ratio bar, which controls what percentage of your troops you're sending out. So at the start, I opt for 30. There's some different YouTubers who go a little bit higher, like 35, and some of the French YouTubers actually just go for 20 right at the start. This isn't the most crucial thing, but generally I try to go for 30. So that's the first thing you want to do at the start of the game. From here, what I typically do is I wait until my population, which you see right here, gets up to around 50%, and I go for attacks with either 40 or 50%. It kind of depends on how many people are around me, because in Openfront, one thing you should know is you get a bonus from large attacks at the moment. So what that means is that my attack is moving a little quicker, I don't have as many troop losses. And generally what I'm doing, as you can see right there, I'm going for something called annexations. So annexations, if you surround bots, you can basically get a little bit of an advantage. So looking at this, how I like to do this is I like to get typically around 50%, and then I start looking around at the map, and I try to go for bots that I think I can annex in like the least number of hits. So if we look around right here, one of the annexations I could do is right on this front. So I'm gonna click here, do 50%. Clearly I should have done this sooner, and there's actually a really good reason why you wanna do it sooner, because in Openfront, we have something called a growth curve, which determines how many troops you're getting. If you look here, right next to your current population and the cap that you have, you can see this growth indicator. And in Openfront, when you're around about, it's like 41%, I can put up a screenshot on the screen. Don't stress over this. You don't need to think too much. Basically, when you're around 41%, you have the max population growth. So trying to keep this number around that point is generally the strat. So as I keep on expanding, I'm trying to annex stuff like that. And one thing you can see below the pop is you can see my gold. And one of the most important things with Openfront right now are cities. Cities are absolutely key. As you can see in the bottom left, if you caught that, when you put down a city, it increases your pop cap by 25k. And this is a really big deal. You see it go up right there. And in most games, what you should know is that if you want to figure out who's going to win, you should just look at the city count. Like, you can go over to other nations like Russia right here, and if you look in the top right, you can see all their stuff like ports, cities, missile launchers, SAMs, warships, and also their attitude. So you want to put these up as soon as you can. Because this is a tutorial, I was a little bit slow, so that's that. So let's keep going. One of the things you should know, and just keep in mind, I'm going a little slow just because I'm trying to just explain things like in a simpler way. As I keep on getting like further ahead in the opening, sometimes I knock down my attack ratio just because I feel like I'm sending out too much. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep this pop number right here around 40, 50% of my cap, because you can see this will keep my growth at the maximum amount. I'm doing this, I'm annexing stuff, and when I get enough gold, I'm going to build a city. I'm just gonna build cities at the start. That's generally my strat. There's some different strats you can use depending on the context. You can see right here, get another nice annexation. So that can mean put up another city, and I just keep on going. So one of the things you might be wondering is, there's some other buildings open front, like a defense post, and you might be wondering, when do I use defense posts? So this is a really good question that you should be thinking about really strategically in these games. Because one of the things that I see from beginners sometimes is I sometimes see people putting down defense posts like way before they need to. They're just like, oh my God, I have a border with Russia. Let me put down this defense post. And if you're curious what it does at the current point in time, so it's taking a little bit to defend, you can see that these borders, like right there, those are defended. It has a little circle radius around here, and it makes it like 5 or 6 times as hard to take something. I think it slows it down and it increases troop losses. But when do you put this down? So I typically, if I'm ahead, I typically don't put down defense posts in a lot of ways, because what I think defense posts are is they're ways to kind of slow down attacks. It's something, if you are vulnerable, right, that you need to like try to stop someone from getting close to your cities or something like that. And that's how I think about them. So like right now, I don't think I need to put up a defense post. I can just keep on putting up other stuff. The other thing I'll say, which I haven't done good this game, is you need to think about city placement in game. Typically in games, how you should do city placement, from how I look at it, is you need to think about a few things. One, you need to think about safety from other players, because in these games, if you can steal people's infrastructure, like if you watch my vids or Ultimus Rex, you'll see us constantly looking around. All right, how many cities does Finland have? Okay, they have 2. How many cities does Poland have, right? Most of these have 2. Hungary has 4, which means they're way, way stronger, because stealing cities is really important. So you don't want to put them like right on the border right here. The other thing you don't want to do is you don't want to put them this close together, because they can get bombed. That is kind of the risk. So let's keep going with this. And the last thing that a lot of people don't think about is you should also think about terrain, which I'm pressing spacebar right here. That's kind of a feature you can use. I think most people know that the green is plains, the kind of it's not yellow, but this is highlands, and then we can also see over here in more Central Europe, I think these are these the Alps, right? These are mountains. So that just affects like how quickly your territory can get taken and how defensible it is. So for me, I like putting defense posts on mountains, and I like trying to put my cities in more defensible areas. So like, all things equal, let's just pretend I'm another nation down here. Let's say I'm Algeria. So Algeria, they've probably taken some of these cities, but if I was to put my cities down, I'd put it right here, and I'd probably even put one right here instead of this missile silo, just because it's the edge of the map. If someone wants to bomb that, they get a little bit less surface area, right? So you gotta be strategic about those things. The same thing I kind of think about with defense posts, because like defense posts, if you put them on mountains, they can be really effective. Like let's look for another example. So if I'm Italy, and say I'm fighting Hungary right here, I would have all these cities right on the front line. I would defense post this immediately, because like that is a huge risk. If Hungary pushed just a tiny bit, they could gain 100k population, which, just looking at that would be absolutely ridiculous. So we got to keep moving with this game. And thinking about what we're going to do, we kind of took a little bit of a break. So you're going to want to put down cities at the start, but you're also going to want to put up a port. A port is really key, just because it's what allows you to scale in Openfront. Probably one of the best parts of Openfront is trade maxing and all this other kind of nonsense, right? And you can see that they send out trade ships, and how this works, I don't think you can select them yet. But these trade ships, they will go to other players' ports, and if they go to ports that are much further away, you get way, way, way more gold. And you can also send out boats. I'm just going to do that just for a little bit later in the game. So putting up like some early cities and then getting a port or two, that's generally a good idea. And then when you get out of the early game, you're going to start thinking about, well, what's next? So you can see right here, just looking at the map, I decided, you know what, Finland, they look really strong. They got 6 cities. We've got 5. They're a little bit stronger than us. I probably don't want to fight them. So setting an alliance, that can be a good strategy. Just to kind of, like you see right here, let's just see if we can ally someone else. Let's go ally Norway right here. That's how you do an alliance. And generally, bots won't break these, and we'll see what happens when you break them. And I'm just going to look around and think about what are my options here. Now, looking at my options, I think y'all are just seeing that Russia is getting pummeled. They are getting captured by Ukraine and Turkey. That definitely makes sense. You know, I think I'm going to go for it to attack. So I've kind of been sitting around this game, but you want to think about attacks within the context of where you're sitting, of, are you vulnerable? Is someone else going to push you? Do they have a missile silo, and can they bomb you? So I just took them out with a big attack. I stole all their gold in the bottom right, and now I'm going to start thinking about some other things I can do. So just looking at stuff, in some games, I'm going to put up a few more cities, just so this is probably what I would do in a real game. If I was in a real game with people, I would have already put up these cities a while ago. I'm going to spread them out. And the next thing I'm going to think about doing is just kind of looking around at what's going on. And I'm actually going to put up a SAM. You know, in most games, I have mixed feelings about SAMs, because I think they're valuable, especially right now with the new bombs and the parabola stuff. But SAMs, they shoot down missile silos. I think they have 80% success rate, and they take a while to build, and they get pretty expensive. But I'm kind of partial to one SAM. So I'm going to get one up just because I'm looking around at my neighbors. I see that Belarus has a missile silo. They got 3 million gold. Ukraine has a missile silo. They have 4 million gold. And I'm going to need to do something to make progress. So after the SAM gets up, I'm going to kind of look around and see, who do I think is the best target? And you know, if you look at Belarus's troop count, it's pretty low, and they're getting attacked by some other people. So I'm just going to go here. I'm just going to go and attack and push on this front. I've got my alliance with Finland, just thinking about context of the map, trying to keep safe. I also see France right here, who is kind of rampaging across the map, and I think I might ally them just to try to stay safe for right now. I don't necessarily want to fight them. So I'm going to push this. I'm going to get this all down. And I got an alliance with France, so that's good. In a normal game, if this was a player, I would probably defense post what I have right here, just because I think it's something that, like, they could take a lot of my stuff really easily. Because you see, I have all this on the front line. So now that I see that, I'm going to actually go for Ukraine. I like to do bigger attacks, but I'm also doing this within the context of thinking about, am I safe? And you got to see, this is why I put up Sams a lot of the time, that other players, if they got gold and they got time, they can just bomb your stuff and make things a lot worse. So I'm taking out Ukraine. I don't think I'm actually going to get the gold from them, and that's all right. So with this, we're just going to keep on going. I'm actually going to this game just for the hell of it. I'm going to put up one other SAM. And the other things you should know about, you can put up warships and other stuff like that. So let's go over here. Let's just go on a side quest right now. And we're going to put up a port here. We sent this out. And I'm going to put up a warship to try to take this out. And I'm going to boat over here. I'm actually going to put up 2 warships just so I win that. And one thing you should know is that if you send out a transport ship like this, and you have a boat out at the same time, the warships prioritize the boat, so that's something to think about. And I'm gonna go try to take out. Iceland really quick. Like, use this opportunity to get maybe a little bit more. I'm probably gonna be bombed, but that's gonna be just the risk. I'm gonna try to take them out in one go. So I'm getting over here, and I'm gonna take out Kenyan Guild, and that's gonna be that. So we're going to take this, we're going to push them. I think they're probably going to send 1 bomb, and we're going to try to get some of their stuff, right? So they didn't send out a bomb, and we got a little bit more. Now, in most games, we probably really need to be focusing on France here, because you can see they've got a ton of stuff. They're in like a prime position. They're like rampaging across the map. They're just dominating, and we probably need to stop them, right? Like, we've just been kind of playing like a side quest almost. You see they have 700k troops. We're taking out Turkey in the meantime. And I think, too, we might take out Iraq. So, all this said, thinking about the other things we need to explain for kind of dynamics and stuff like that, I'm wondering if it makes sense to go for France right here. And you can see that their troop count went way low just because they're doing an attack over here. And this could have been a really good opportunity to try to go for them. But what I'm going to do really quick, I'm going to just try to bum rush Iraq here. I'm going to try to take their stuff really quick, get a little bit of a boost, and kind of prepare for the end of games, right? So Iraq's trying to stop me. They're going to get out 2 cities. These are the type of things you got to worry about in these games. So we've taken out Iraq, and now we're kind of at the end game. And the things that I like to do in these end games is I like to check the city count of stuff. I'm also just going to finish off Iraq right there and try to get the rest of their stuff. You'll see that their warship will sink, right? So that's good. So what I can see here is I have 37 cities, France is 40, Finland's got 14, and that all plays into overall power balance. So given this, you know, in a typical game, I would probably just hydrogen this guy, and what I want to do is I want to go look for the place that's the most vulnerable. But what's going to happen when I do that is that I'm going to get Betrayal, which has a really significant effect. So you can see right here too, our alliance has 6 minutes left. We're going to go and actually try to betray them. I'm just thinking if it makes sense, but the thing you need to think about with betraying someone is that I don't know if a lot of players really recognize how significant betraying someone is in these games. That betraying someone, it makes you get a 50% defense bonus, so other people can potentially attack you. So I think what we're going to do is that we're going to launch a bomb. I think we're going to put it, I just want to put it so it doesn't hit Finland. And we're going to try to look for a rich area where there's a lot of stuff, because this is Endgame. I don't like using these bombs necessarily in kind of the other parts of the game. And we're going to start the apocalypse. You can also see France is 14.5 million gold. That's why I put up one more SAM, because I think they're going to bomb me. You can see I got the debuff here. And you know what's interesting? France betrays, so that gives me an opportunity to use a big attack and try to take them out. You got to seize your opportunities in these games, and that's kind of the risk of a lot of stuff. You can see, this is what the debuff does. And the game is kind of biased towards big players right now. So I basically one-shot France, and they're bombing Finland. So this is kind of like some of the mechanics of how I think about the game. This is obviously really simple. Like, this is just a general game. We can also take back this irradiated land. And besides this, I'm just thinking about what are the other things you might need to know. I don't think we talked about basically stealing stuff with trade. You can also see one of the things that happen if you take some land after someone fires a missile, other people get betrayal. So we can go after Finland, and that is a game. So let me know if you have any questions. The things that I'd say in Openfront, start off with annexing stuff. Those attack levels should probably help you out. Be conscious of people around you. Be careful about betrayals, because you saw that can be the consequence of that type of stuff. And besides that, I think there's some other things you should know about trade and stuff like that, in a game like this, trade isn't necessarily as lucrative right here, but it can be in others. So anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.